What's up, guys? I think that's what the YouTubers say. I'm probably just trying to be cool, failing. I'm going to try something new, putting out a little bit of video content here for quick call computer repairs. One of the questions I get asked quite a lot in my line of work is what is the single most effective upgrade I can do to a computer? Now, most people are coming to me with a computer that's at least 4 years old. Um, where it's gotten slower and slower over the years, and they're wondering what they can do to speed it up. In most cases, the most effective thing you can do is a solid state hard drive. You've probably heard of solid state hard drives, you probably don't know what they are. They're basically a place to store your stuff. The computer has in it a hard drive. A hard drive is what is used to store all of your data, and the faster that hard drive is, the faster the computer will work, and the faster it turns on, the faster it shuts down, the faster programs will load, and generally the more snappy it will feel. It's why a lot of people notice that something like an iPad feels incredibly snappy to use, whereas obviously a classic phrase with laptops is, that you'll go and put the kettle on and make a cup of tea while you wait for it to load. And I mean, I do tell people when they make that joke, with all seriousness, I say, well, then you need somebody to look at your computer, because although it's funny and we've taken it for granted over the years, you shouldn't really be in a position where you've got to wait for your computer to load. So what I've put together here is a video of a laptop, the same laptop. A client of mine came to me and she said, look, my laptop's running really slow. It's about 3 years old. I think it's 2 or 3 years old, this laptop. It's a nice Acer. And she said, basically, it's horrible. I can't do my uni work on it. So I said, yeah, of course, I'll have a look at it for you. I brought it in, and what you'll see is the video that you'll see on the right of the screen. You'll notice that that's the laptop. After I've repaired it, so after cleaning up, she did have some malware on there. She had a suboptimal setup on Windows. We did all the tweaks. I used sort of my decade plus of experience fixing and upgrading computers to get Windows running as well as possible. And to be honest, I was disappointed with the end result. And whenever I'm looking at someone's computer and I'm disappointed with the end result, I try to give them advice going on from there as to what is best to do for their computer. In this case, it was clear as day. You might be able to see it in the video. I don't think I focused on it, but her hard drive was running, very high usage at all times, which is a classic problem with old spinning disk hard drives on Windows 10. They're under load an awful lot of the time because of the amount of time it takes to get data on and off the drives, especially in mid-range computers that don't have the world's fastest CPUs or the most amount of RAM. This laptop's running a Pentium Gold, which is a mid to low tier CPU. So effectively, I gave her a call. I said, look, I'm not happy with the results of this. I think you need to put some money into a solid state hard drive. I quoted her £50 or something extra to put a 250 gig solid state in. And she said, yep, I trust you enough to go with that. If you say it's going to help, it'll help. So I did it, upgraded it, and the results of that upgrade are what you'll see in the video on the left hand side of the screen. It's a little bit of a there's a little bit of a caveat to sort of put out there about the videos, is that the video on the right, of course, does still have all of her programs and data, although there's not much on there, in all honesty. But it's not a completely clean install. So before somebody mentions that I'm not comparing like to like, but I mean, this isn't something where we're having to, you know, check the photo finish to see what happened. As you'll see very shortly, it'll be quite clear what difference the SSD has made to the system. So the test will run from in Windows with everything settled and running. I'll shut the machines down, or restart the machine, should I say, and then once they're back into Windows, I will load a browser and check the system overhead using the performance tab in Task Manager. So effectively what I'll be showing is when the computer is fully loaded, and then you can sort of see the difference for yourself. So I'll play them both. This is the second time I've done this video because I messed up by leaving the audio running on these videos last time. So as you'll see, I did actually set the video on the right off slightly behind which won't matter. The video on the left, remember, is the solid state drive, which has already shut down and started to come back on. The video on the right is just beginning to boot back up again. And on the left now, we've got the login screen. And very shortly, we'll get the Windows desktop. And I'll presumably load, I think, Teams, which is quite a slow to load program. So I wanted to give it a something that was not ideal. It's very easy to load a very light program and go look how fast it is. But I mean, we're already into Teams, and we've got the second machine is still not actually even past the UEFI boot portion. Opening Task Manager on the machine on the left just to show system overhead. We'll load up the Performance tab, and I zoom in there and show that the CPU usage is down to 2%, using about half the memory. Disk usage is 0, and it's the disk usage that we wanted to get under control for this lady. Her disk usage was running very high, and it was just purely down to the hardware. A lot of people might say, oh, she had software in there that was using. She had nothing installed that was using the disk. There was no handles going to the disk threads. It was purely the seek time on the disk and how much Windows wants to page a hard drive in 2020. Spinning disks just can't handle it. They don't have enough. They just don't have enough throughput. So this computer on the right is probably a little bit more familiar to you out there. This is basically what most people, I think, see day to day with their computer. I'll put the kettle on while it loads. And I mean, like I said, we're talking a 2-3-year-old machine that's had barely any use. She just wants it to do her uni work, which is another pet hate of mine. When people say, oh, I don't want it to do much. It's like, okay, so let's say the computer on the right, you don't want it to do much, and the computer on the left, you don't want it to do much. You can get your not much done an awful lot quicker and with an awful lot less stress if it performs like the one on the left. And so it's a very strange concept when people sort of don't want to put any money into a computer because they feel they don't need it to do a lot. So we've managed to get to the desktop now. Some 2 minutes 50-ish in the video since we shut down, which is a lot longer than the entirety of the other video. I'm again going to go into Task Manager just to highlight the differences between system load, and with any luck that'll come up. I don't know if you'll be able to see it in the video. I just sort of took these on a camera mainly to actually show the lady in question the difference, because I thought, well, I've got her on Facebook. I can send these videos over and be like, look, this is what you're paying for. And it wasn't until I did that I realized, hang on, this might be something that's worth showing to everybody, which is why I opted to make this video to promote this as an upgrade, whether or not you do it through me or through your local IT specialist. It's look at what's happening to the CPU there. It's the same CPU in the two systems. It's the exact same CPU, but the CPU is having to handle all of those disk requests, which are maxing the system out. And it won't settle from that until the system has been running for a while, which means everything that you try to do on that system is going to be slow. Everything is going to be slow to react, slow to load. It's just not going to be a nice system to use. And there's finally, we're getting the browser to load up there. That's as far as it goes. So I'll pause the video there and I'll just summarize it. So if you can't see from that why you should have a solid state drive, if your laptop currently loads up, shuts down, and does everything like the one on the left, you don't need any kind of upgrade, unless it's, there may be other kinds of upgrades like more RAM you need for specific things. But if you're talking about just having a computer that works nicely and does day-to-day tasks how you want it, if your computer runs like the one on the left, you're fine. You don't need me. If your computer runs significantly slower, even if it's not as bad as the one on the right, but if it runs significantly slower, you can be fairly sure that you can get somewhere close to what's going on that left-hand computer with something as simple as a solid-state hard drive. A typical solid-state hard drive upgrade is going to cost you around about £100, because there's the labor involved of copying all the data across from from the old drive to the new one, but you don't lose any data in the process. You don't lose programs in the process. We can clone almost the entire thing across with a minimum of fuss. If you do want more storage, the larger hard drives are a little bit more expensive to buy, but if you buy those hard drives, then you're going to have the performance and the storage, and you've got to bear in mind that let's say you did put a 1 terabyte hard drive, a solid state hard drive into a £400 machine. Well, to buy a laptop with a 1 terabyte in off the shelf, you're up in the £1,000 gaming PC range for a 1 terabyte SSD. So, all I can say is the proof is in the videos here. If your laptop is running slow or your desktop PC is running slow, you could get in touch with me. You've got the contact details below. I do repairs by mail order if you happen to be somebody who doesn't know me locally. Yeah, maybe pop by the website and or send me a message, and we'll see if we can make your life just a little bit easier. Thanks a lot.